Am I too loud if I say he doesn't owe that to her? I understand the sentiment of frustration around him not working with Esther, but he also honestly did not have to.
Welcome to Am I Too Loud, the podcast.
Welcome back to Am I Too Loud, the podcast with Sophie, aka the motherfucking Odditty. Happy new week, guys. It is almost June. What the absolute fudge is going on in the world? How is it almost June? We started this year 2 days ago. 2 bumbleclot days ago. And now it is almost June. 6 months has gone by in 2026. How? How is that possible? How is that possible? Someone needs to let me know how that is freaking possible. I'm kind of not freaking out, but I'm kind of also freaking out a bit because in my mind, I did not expect the year to go by as quick as it has gone. And it might be a bit frightening. Okay, so welcome back to the podcast. This week, we're going to be talking about some reasons why I don't think you should listen to my podcast. Now you're probably wondering, Sophie, why in God's name would that be the topic of today's conversation? I've been loving the trend 5 reasons or 6 reasons or some reasons why you wouldn't want to be my friend. And some people have been liking it. Some other people have not been liking those type of content, but it's been going around on TikTok for a while. And I did a video like that and I posted mine. And what's crazy is I realized how, first of all, sidebar, let's get into it. When I first did that, 5 reasons or some reasons why you wouldn't want to be my friend, and I said what I was saying, I realized I'm a pretty great friend. Very few things piss me off. I am a pretty understanding person as a friend. That made me realize how good of a person I am. So not to like pat myself on the head or anything, but just letting myself know that. Anyways, another sidebar. It's been trending on TikTok, right? And then I decided, okay, I wanted to do an episode for this week. I wasn't sure what I wanted to talk about this week because, again, am I too loud? There could be so many things. And then I decided, you know what? We're going to talk about reasons why I don't think you should listen to my podcast. Because can I kind of sort of say I don't think I've reached my target audience when it comes to Am I Too Loud, the podcast? Let me explain why. Now, this is going to be a clip that's going to be going up on TikTok, so I am about to brace myself for what is about to come. But I am from Nigeria. Hello, I say that all the time. I currently live in the United States of America, hence the American accent. I am a queer Muslim Black woman. Spiritual, non-practicing Muslim. Let me make that clear. What else am I? Could be so many different things. The point is, sometimes my opinions might not fit the box people want to put me into. And so when people listen to podcasts, especially nowadays, and we're going to talk about things that have been going on online, when people put me in a box by coming to my comment section and saying stuff like, this isn't religious, this isn't Christ-like, this isn't Nigerian, this is terrible for the culture, you are a terrible child, you should not be this, you should not be that. I don't give a flying fudge. I don't. The whole point of the podcast is Am I Too Loud, the flipping podcast. The whole point of all of this is for me to be too loud, too proud, too much. Because if you think I'm too much, go find less. Don't listen. And so I realized, I don't know I'm talking like this today, but I realized that I don't think I've hit my target audience. So this episode, I think, is going to serve as like the pinned episode on my page across my profiles that would tell people that if you're thinking of listening to Am I Too Loud, the podcast, here are a few things that I, Sophie, aka the Oddity, stand for as a person. If you don't stand for any of these things, immediately sign out, immediately ignore me, immediately don't listen. Because I think this goes back to the things that have been happening online. For example, I think we have lost the art of nuance. We've lost the art of black and white. Let me give you an example. There is this creator I follow. God, guys, I can't remember her name. I'm going to try to search up this girl. I think maybe her name is Paula. Is it Paula? Is it Paulina? Is it Paulina? No, it's not Paulina. Fudge. Paulina? I can't. I'm so sorry. This is why I need to like save things before I talk. But there might be a creator. She's a Black girl. I don't know where she lives. She has a big forehead. Not that's important to the story. I have a big forehead, so I'm not insulting her. But she's a young creator and she does commentary content. And in her content recently, she was getting dragged. And forgive me for not having all the information. If you don't know what I'm talking about, let me try to explain it to you. She was getting dragged for saying something along the lines of identifying more as a woman than identifying as black. And now there's been a huge backlash on her and people wanting to drag her, and all of these things are happening. And in my mind, I don't understand the internet's need to take someone's words and pick out the parts that they don't like and then villainize the person for it. What I mean by that is, at what point in the society did we decide, if we don't like what this person said here, we should hate the person and they should die? Because that feels like the immediate reaction. There is no space anymore in the world of opinions where you can have a wrong opinion or you can have an opinion that is not of the masses and you are allowed to exist. Only if you're a white man. Only, caveat, only if you're a white man. Just saying. And I'm talking from an American experience. Let me say that. Because as I scroll sometimes on TikTok and I scroll sometimes online, it is pretty frustrating to see certain things happen and wonder why two things can be true. The sun can be out and it can also be raining. We've experienced this. Now, imagine going to a world where they've never actually seen rain fall while the sun is out. But someone who has seen that happen, it will be very hard to convince someone that that is a possibility, that can actually be a truth. But because someone has not seen it, it doesn't become their truth. When did we as a society become so closed-minded that we start behaving and thinking this way? I am not sure. To go back to what I was saying with this episode, we're still going to talk about the reasons why you shouldn't listen to my podcast. However, if we're following me here, I do this every time, sidebar. I do this every time. I really should put sidebar on the t-shirt because I say sidebar a lot whenever I get distracted by other things. Besides the point. Sidebar. I do this when I'm talking to my friends. I can bring up like 5 different topics at once and then we decide to talk about it. Let's do a hot topic roundup because I think this is a part of the podcast where I discuss really crazy things that are happening online right now. And one of those such things is, the Patrick Ta Painted by Esther debacle. When I saw everything happening, let me say I am not educated about the beauty industry in terms of like who's the pioneer where, who's the da-da-da-da there. But my take might be different. Let me explain why. Because there's so many different parties to this conversation, right? So if you don't know, let me give you guys an example. This is hot topic. This is gist. So there is this makeup artist called Patrick Ta. He's a makeup guru person. He's an OG influencer, now has a beauty brand. And then there's Painted by Esther. And Esther is an iconic makeup artist who is pretty famous, but more recently famous for doing a lot of Olandria's makeup. She also did Tyla at this year's Met Gala, so she's huge. In recent years, and I say recent years as recent as like maybe a year or maybe 2, we've been talking a lot about how Black women need to wear blush more. Okay. And this conversation is also taking a huge leap into the ecosystem of beauty and the makeup world because of Makeup by Esther, Painted by Esther, because she sort of popularized this idea that like blush is blush. Like you should see the blush. I know as a Black woman, I know friends still till today who was scared to use blush because Black girls don't blush. That's kind of what I grew up hearing. And when you did have a makeup artist who, wore blush, you kind of shied away from it. You felt like it was too much, right? So Esther has popularized blush. Here are the facts. Here are the facts of the case. When you are putting on makeup, blush goes on your cheek. Now, there are different places you can place blush, but most times, if you're putting blush somewhere, it is on your cheek, right? Stay with me, guys. Okay. Second part of this conversation is being an artist. Painted by Esther popularized this technique of transitional blush in a way, meaning when you have your concealer and your blush, there's that demarcation that happens in your face. Esther just popularized the transition so well to where like it became very synonymous within the space as Esther's look. Now, I think so many things can be true at once. This can be a thing that is happening, which is blush is getting this new boom or push. A lot of brands are capitalizing off of blush. Patrick Ta comes into the conversation because he created a transitional blush product, which means that his own blush, he's saying that this particular type or style of blush is one where it is helpful for that transition, for that line that you get on your face if you're not a good blush girl. Meaning someone like me, for example, I hope you guys are following. Someone like me, when I put on blush, I don't get the blend. I don't know how to do it. I don't know the technique, right? Esther is a pro. I don't know the technique, right? So what Patrick Ta is saying, for those of you who want to get this look, but don't have the technique down, I've created this product that would do that for you. And then I've also trademarked the transition blush product, jumped on this wave, and now I am creating this blush, and now it is here. The internet is upset at Patrick Ta, rightfully so, because they're saying, well, Esther should have been given credit. Esther should have been the founder of this technique or this product. Esther could have been X, Y, and Z. And then Esther also posts a long video where she talks about how being a Black woman in this industry can be hard, funding, life. And she shares a lot about being a pioneer and seeing your work sort of like taken away from you, essentially, which a lot of Black women can relate to. Now, two things can be true at once. And this is what I've been seeing with the discourse. Number one, Makeup by Esther. I keep saying Makeup by Esther. Number one, what Patrick Ta did was pretty shiesty. In terms of the fact that, like, yeah, he could have collabed with Esther and made it an even bigger deal. Two, he didn't have to. He didn't have to. This is business. There's not one blush. There's no one blush. Am I crazy, guys? Am I too loud if I say there's several blush products on the market? That's what business is. I think as a society, and let me know if this is a wrong take. I'm keeping this as a clip. As a society, it's understandable that we feel frustration with Patrick Ta for this transition blush. Maybe we don't support the products, which we probably should not do. Maybe we'll put money where our mouths is and have Esther say if she wants to create her own product, she can. That's what happens in a capitalist society. The Nessa Myricks has a blurring balm. I think the only reason more businesses have not tried to do that blurring balm technique is because the Nessa pretty much has trademarked it. And also, it's such a unique formula. Very rarely do you see brands have these unique formulas coming out onto the market. Like, that is my thing. You know what I mean? Like, this is business. And so the sentiment online now is, Patrick Ta hates Black women. There's a lot of Black creators who people are calling sellouts because they're using the Patrick Ta blush. Whereas, like, I understand the sentiment of frustration around him not working with Esther, but he also honestly did not have to. We don't know if they didn't have a good relationship. We don't know if she's going to come out with her own stuff. We don't know if she's even interested in launching her own product. We don't know anything besides, we wish this girl got her own thing. And if she's not having it with Patrick Ta, someone else is going to give it to her, or she's going to find her way to get it herself. I've been frustrated with the discourse because I think we sometimes start dogpiling a lot online. And we get frustrated when we call people names and we call everybody an enemy number one, and we try to use one thing to delete everybody else's, and we try to use one thing to delete the good that so many people have done because of the one thing that they supposedly support, when that is not the case at all. Honestly, this discourse is so much bigger than blush. And I feel like that's where my frustrations are coming along. It's essentially proximity to power, it's influence, and it's how someone can popularize something and then they don't get the credit for it. Think about it from the Black creator. I think her name was Janae. I'm so sorry. See, even I don't know that. And when she did the first dance, that like, you guys know what I'm talking about? That like, that dance that was like 50 different steps during the pandemic that I never learned, like that dance, and how it went on the Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon show, and it ended up being like Addison Rae or something, a white creator who was the one who was brought on to teach the dance, when it was a Black creator who popularized it and brought all of this attention to it. This is pretty much similar to that. Now, my frustrations is the conversation that then happens around it. Because Esther did not invent blush. She did not invent transitional blush. She did not create this makeup. Makeup is makeup. Art is art. Everything is cyclical. We've had seasons where different communities wear blush in this particular way or in different styles. And it's innovative, yes, because of how she's been doing it and how she's popularized it in today's culture for sure. But she didn't invent it. Now, here is the thing that we're sort of losing here, because I think the morality police is arguing with capitalism when capitalism was already won, especially in a country like America. Because in this particular scenario, capitalism just won. Like, yes, it would have been iconic for Patrick Ta to have collaborated with Esther, given her flowers and created something with her around this, because she is the creator in the sense of this new wave of interest in transitional blush and that term and the way it's sort of like been portrayed. But am I too loud if I say he doesn't owe that to her? Because Kumbaya, yes. Ideally, that would have been great. In fact, I think it would have been sold more if he did that. I wish he did that. I wish her team went ahead first and created a product because of how much you could capitalize on that. First of all, maybe she didn't even want to do that. Maybe she didn't even want it. Maybe Esther did not actually want to create her own blush. I don't know. Maybe, probably. She probably did. Maybe she didn't want to. And maybe she did. We never know, right? I don't know if we know. We should find out. But he didn't owe her that. And I think that's the tough conversation we need to have, because a lot of times, especially as Black creators, a lot of things are at stake for us. There is stuff like, first of all, money, access, interest, power, so many things that hold Black creators, especially in America, from doing the things that we really, really want to do. That's the reality of life. And sometimes social media makes us forget that no one is necessarily owed morality. Like, it would have been nice, but it's really, it would have been nice, but am I allowed to say that it's really nothing more than business? And it is yucky, it is shiesty, it is annoying, it is frustrating. But it's a dog-eat-dog world. And in this particular scenario, we should be supporting Esther. We should be creating access and opportunity for her and pushing her. And what is even more frustration about this conversation is people not turning this around to Jackie Aina. There is so much. First of all, when I heard people talk about how, like, oh my God, Jackie reviewed the blushes, and I was like, oh, really? I'm surprised she did that, knowing what's been happening. And then I went back and I realized, oh, she reviewed the blushes before the conversation around Esther came into play. And I realized that, yeah, that makes sense for me from a makeup girly perspective, right? Like, I see a new product in the market, they send it to me, I'm going to review because this is innovative, this is interesting, this is fun. Nowhere in my mind am I going to think blush should be attributed to somebody else. I don't think that's logical. But now I've reviewed the blush. People are talking about how, like, oh, this is popularized by Esther. Esther should get credit. And she was like, oh, this was only a review. She just said nothing about the background, nothing about anything else. She simply just said, this is a review of the blushes. I saw that after I posted this was when people were telling me that there's conversations online about Esther. And then she said her 2 cents. And then people were beginning to say so many things about Jackie and so many bad things, blah, blah, blah. And I think it's so hilarious to me how many people online throw stones. I think it's so interesting how many people can sit from the comfort of their homes and throw stones at people. And how how you think about the Roman, maybe not the Romans, maybe is it the Romans? We think about people who maybe it would be the Romans. Though when we think about the olden days, let's just say the olden days, when you hear stories about the mob, and it's like this person who was so kind, and the person was mobbed, and people were throwing stones, and people just kept throwing stones. And I'm like, how could everybody agree? And I realized that's what we're currently doing now in society. We don't think for ourselves. We simply just agree with the mob and continue to go on. You're telling me Jackie Aina reviewed a transitional blush from a makeup product that's out in the market, and now she must be cancelled and she hates black women. Are we okay? Are we actually okay as a people? And okay, I get it. If you don't like a creator, I get it. You don't like a creator. What is this fascination and fixation in hating creators so much, especially black women? And we crucify them so much that even our own people are pushed to the ground in a way. Like, guys, I know, am I too loud if I say this is such a, I don't know if this is a hot take or not. I'm gonna then actually go into the topic of this conversation because we've not going into the podcast. Am I too loud if I say that, and I don't know how this is going to sound, and this is probably going to be clipped, accountability is important. Crucifixion is not. And especially with black women, the standard black women are held to, rightfully so, because we are amazing, we're special, is so great. But oftentimes what we do as a society, as a people, is we crucify black women rather than holding them accountable. And what I mean by holding them accountable is there is a conversation to be had with saying, hey, I don't like how this creator does X, Y, and Z, period, end of story. What we tend to do as a mob is say, I don't like how this creator is moving. I think they need to die. I think they need to lose all their followers, lose all their income. I think they need to disappear, and we need to strip them of all the community we've built for them and show them that we will take it away from them. And we do that again and again and again. I think about the case of the TikToker lip gloss around natural hair. I think about the conversation about the Paulina girl. I hate that. I can't remember her name. Right now happening online. I think about the conversation around Jackie that happens online. She's just really persevere. Like, she's very perseverant. She's like, fudge all y'all. I think about Fanita. And sometimes you guys might say, well, all these examples, James Charles is still online. David Dobrik is still online. Trisha Paytas is still online. Love her down. Tana Mojo, love Tana too. Is still online. Like, can we not crucify people in our communities but hold them accountable? And I think that's where cancel culture frustrates me. It's like, we don't give the chance for people to change, to grow, to move. And honestly, I might too loud if I say we need to have a diverse group of women. We don't need only excellent women. Sue me. We need the messy black girl. We need the ghetto black girl. We need the brilliant black girl. We need the PhD black girl. We need the non-profit black girl. We need the loudmouth black girl. We need the stupid black girl. We need the goth black girl. We need the Barbie black girl. We need the African black girl. We need the Caribbean black girl. We need every single type of black girl. Like, I want to have black women be represented on all aspects of things. I want a mess to the best. Because that's what humans are. So this idea that we need to be perfect is oftentimes just compared to westernization, or just to the Western culture, to just in proximity to closeness to whiteness in a way. When we see how someone's behaving, we're like, oh my God, why are they behaving like that in public? Because we're comparing them to how white people will see us. Oh, I could go deep. Oh my God, I could go deep. Anyways, that is my take on the Patrick Ta situation. I said all of that to say that I think it was business. I think, unfortunately, Patrick Ta could have done a great job at including Esther in the launch, but he also had no loyalty to Esther in the launch. It is something that is just facts. Like, if I'm going to be coming from a realistic point of view, it would have been nice for him to have done that. He didn't owe her anything. Now it is our job as a consumer to say that and go, Patrick Ta did this. Interesting business choice. We know what your business stands for. If Esther brings out a product, we're going to support. Like, if Danessa Myrick and Esther decide to come out with a collab, yes to that. Let's get it. Let's go. Shout out to Danessa. Hopefully there's money behind that. But then we can think about it now. Is there funding? Who's the target audience? So much at stake here. The point is, in today's day and age, no one cares about who invented something. They just care about who moved the needle. And they also care about who's the topic of the conversation. And most importantly, they care about who has the money. that's why it's so important. It's so important to have access. And yes, it's important for us to keep fighting for access for our people. It's so important. It is so important. And I hope one day we get there. But we live in a society in America where that is pretty hard to do. It's pretty flipping hard. And no, most businesses don't run on morality politics. They don't run on the moral police. In fact, they just run on who has the money. And they don't think twice about stepping on people to get there. It is unfortunate, but it is the reality of life. Am I too loud if I say that? Probably. But we're going to move on. Okay. So let's move on to today's topic of conversation, which is something I'm trying to find on my laptop. Actually, guys, I was just speaking to Apple the other day, subtle flex, and they're going to be sending me a new iPad. I can't wait because this iPad is so old. So old. All right. So the point of this podcast was to talk about reasons why you should not listen to Am I Too Loud, the flipping podcast. And there's a few reasons why. This is not a safe space. I didn't realize how much I tended to shy away from saying. But here it is. This is not a safe space. In fact, it might be considered a real space. It's not going to be a mean space by any means. And I think I want to say that from the perspective of, if you know me, you should know how nice I am. Hopefully you should know how kind I am. And you should know that everything I say isn't stemming from being mean or trying to knock people down. It's just nuance. I think that's why whenever I'm having conversations, I can always see both sides. Like I can sit here and say, I understand why someone might think this way, but this is how I think. And I wouldn't judge, because there's one thing you should know about me. And I think this should be, let's get into the episode. Okay. So this episode is supposed to be warning people away from my podcast. And so don't listen to me if you want some comfort, judgment, fake perfection, silence, or watered down opinions. Okay. It's supposed to be a fun segue into the kind of content that I want to start creating for the podcast. And I think I was telling the friend the other day, sidebar, when I was in Calgary, I just got back from Calgary and I met a friend and we were yapping. And I was telling her that there's so many things I want to say online, but we don't give space for nuance. Like even right now, after speaking to you guys about the whole Patrick Ta and Esther situation, I know there are going to be comments like, that's terrible. And, Patrick Ta is terrible. Cancel Patrick Ta. He's not going to be canceled. He's not. It's the same way when people were talking about how Kamala Harris is going to win. I was like, no, she's not. She's not going to win. Have you guys been to Alabama and Louisiana in America? You thought Kamala Harris was going to win in America? And maybe that thought process, I'll give you an example. This is the perfect example of how I think. We're going to get into the episode, I promise. This is such a me episode. If you are watching this and you understand some level of American politics, and this might make sense. If not, just try to follow along, guys. This is just for tea. This is like Nerd Sophie coming out. The New York elections was between the former mayor of New York, who was a black man, Eric, and he was terrible. He stole the money from New York. It was a terrible mayor. People were tired of it. He was the mayor. There was a third man, there's four of them. Cuomo he's a Democrat? He's a Democrat. But old money, Democrat, career politician, that kind of thing. Zoran Mamdani is this new guy who's coming in fresh. And then the fourth person was a crackhead like Donald Trump, essentially. But they're all running for mayor. I hope I got that right. Probably not. The point is, the sentiment will still remain the same. When people were talking about whether or not Mamdani was going to win, I remember saying, I really think he would. And I wasn't saying that from a place of false hope. I was saying that from a place of, if you see what is the reality on the ground, there is such a thing as smart thinking. It's like, work smart, not work hard. In New York's case, Mamdani had a pretty good chance of winning with the way his campaign was going. With the Kamala Harris situation, from the get-go, we knew that her campaign was already sabotaged. There was just really, really hard for a woman to win in America. Even harder if that woman is not a fully white woman, because white men are not going to vote for a black woman. I don't say this as like I'm being a pessimist. I'm just saying that as fact. Like, it's like saying Nigeria is going to have their first female president in the next 2 years. I don't think that's possible. I don't think that's possible. Like, culture shifts with the people. I think Obama became Obama in the race because there was genuinely a movement within the culture, a need within the culture at the time for a change so drastic to prove something. I think culture is shifting now into a space where it's trying to reverse that, all those good things. Anyways, I'm a realist. So the point of this episode is for me to talk to you guys about why you shouldn't listen to the podcast. Number 1, don't listen to my podcast if you are homophobic. And I would read this. I am queer. I love queer people. I support queer people. This podcast is never going to be a safe space for homophobia, casual or otherwise. So, if you are queer, this is for you. Let me explain. If you are LGBTQIA, am I too loud? This is a safe space for you. Oh my God, Pride Month is next month. So this is perfect. It's coming out right now. Even if I wasn't queer, even if I wasn't anything, it would still be a safe space for you. I have always and would always be, even before I even identified as being queer, I have always just thought to myself, I wonder why that is my business. I wonder why what people do in the comfort of their own homes is anyone's business. I wonder why, as a human being who knows where north I will go when I die, would be interested in judging and crucifying people for being themselves. It's just never been my thing. So if you are someone who identifies as someone who is homophobic, this is not a safe space for you. It's not a safe space for your comments. It's not a safe space for your religious chapters or verses. It's not a safe space for anything other than zero judgment. Because I've never understood the need to judge other people. The coolest thing I have learned as I've been growing up is the fact that no one knows what the fudge they're doing. No one does. You cannot concretely tell me right now that you know what's going to happen tomorrow. You might have a belief about what's going to happen. You might have a prayer, a hope about what's going to happen, but you do not know. No human alive knows what comes next. We might have projections, we might have ideas, but we don't know. So it has never made logical sense for me to then be someone who is clearly indoctrinated into something, now pour and cast stone on someone else. Kev on Stage, one of my favorite creators of all time, caught a lot of flack recently because he grew up Christian, was very Christian, and he talked about how, like, you know, he's not homophobic. He just loves everyone who's queer. He just loves gay people. He basically was saying, like, I don't care, I'm not going to judge. And so many people were in the comments like, you shouldn't, you're a Christian, this is terrible, da da da. And they just kept moving the goalposts and putting the goalposts back, and da, da, da. And my opinion is, it doesn't even matter because you don't know what you're doing. You might think you have a belief about what you're doing, but you don't. And so why not just let us all live lives? Why not just let everyone live their life? And maybe some people might argue and say, and this is why I tell you guys, this is why my thought is very different. Because some people might argue back to me, and I'm going to tell you your argument. You're going to say, well, we need standards. We need people who are going to make sure the world isn't chaotic. Who makes the chaos? Who is the person telling us what is right and what is wrong? If you tell me God, how do you know that? Who told you it was God? Was it God? If you say yes, when did he tell you? Did anybody else hear him? If they did, was it from a written human? Or is it just your belief that it was God that told you? And so based on belief, you're behaving the way you're behaving. And if you think about it, there are other things that your God said you shouldn't do that you are doing. Some might say you are not innocent as well. So the point is, if you are homophobic, this podcast is not for you. Be kind to one another, guys. That's all I have to say. Number 2, I have a list. Number 2, don't listen if you only support women when they behave. I am a feminist. Welcome to My Love, the podcast with Sophie, aka the motherfucking feminist. I am a feminist. You might be wondering, what is a feminist? A feminist is someone who believes in the social and economic equality of women. I hope so. Hold on a second. Let's define feminism before we move on. Feminism. Guys, if you're listening to this, I'm defining feminism. There we go. Feminism is the belief in and advocacy for the social, political, and economic equality of the sexes. Now, let's get into it. It says social. What does that mean? Within social settings, we are all equal. Within political settings, we're all equal. A woman can lead, a man can lead. Economic equality. If I'm at a job and a man is getting paid more because he's simply a man, not because he's doing the job better, that is not feminism. I think that's pretty much it. Like, it's just the idea that, like, we all deserve equal. I think it's just the idea that we all deserve equal rights and life opportunities. And there's so many different ways to think about that, from like intersectional feminism, radical feminism, social. And I'm telling you, as humans, this is what it tires me about us, is we might have one thing and then we turn this thing into 5 different things and then it turns into 10 different things. And basically the ideas that we had from the beginning just end up being convoluted. And what I mean by that is, feminism is simple. I have rights, you have rights. Because you're a man doesn't mean you're better than me. And unfortunately, there are too many people in this world who think that women are subservient to men. Women too, honestly, even think that. And I think that's disappointing. So I support women who are loud, soft, confused, ambitious, sexual, celibate, married, single, divorced, heartbroken, rich, broke, healing, spiraling, glowing up, starting over, and figuring it out in public. Women do not have to be perfect to get your support. In fact, we live in a patriarchal society. And the one thing I'm always going to say is women deserve everything and more. They do. End of story. And also, based on that, just don't ever listen to me if like feminism scares you. Like, don't do that. I don't hate, and I've seen this conversation a lot around the content I make about family, about relationships, about love, about romance, about men. And I think it's just based on the fact that I genuinely think a woman is at her happiest when she deconstructs her ideas of who she needs to be and is simply who she wants to be. What do I mean by that? I think as when women are growing up, especially young girls, we are taught. Now, let me tell you this before I start. What I am about to say right now has nothing to do with men. This is simply about women. People do this thing sometimes when you're talking and then they take, and then, what about men? I'm not talking to you right now. I'm talking to women. When young girls are growing up, right, they are taught certain things and they put in this, if you had a basket, if you've watched the Barbie movie, this makes sense. If you had a basket of things that you wanted as a woman, you wanted your girl to be. Perfect example. I have a friend who has a child, and the child is a boy, and she really says she doesn't want a girl. And I remember asking her, why do you not want a girl? And she's like, oh, I don't want my girl to be a hoe. Excuse me? Oh, I would have bitch slapped her ass. What does that even fucking mean? So for me, it's the concept of, you have this idea, this box, and we put different labels that we want to put for girls. And in that other box, the different labels that we have with boys. I would love for a woman to be born, young girls to be born, even boys too at this point, and they decide what is in their own box. As a woman, I am not less of a woman because I don't want to have a child. As a woman, I'm not less of a woman because I don't want to get married. As a woman, I'm not less of a woman because I want to get married. I'm not less of a woman because I want to have kids. I am simply me because of the choices I make. End of story. And for so long, women are sort of like forced and put in these chains, essentially, of what they should be doing and how they should behave. Because honestly, when a woman is powerful, she can build and create magic. And I think the world sees that. Number 3, don't listen to me if you hate honesty. I'm telling you right now, do not listen to me if you hate honesty. If you are ever, I didn't realize how, my friends say this all the time. My friends say I'm very honest. And I'm telling you guys, I am so I don't know if kind people say this, but I am so kind. I am so nice, but I am very honest. I will tell you exactly as it is. And it might not be nice. It might not be pretty, but it's not true. I'll be honest when I'm confused. I'll be honest when I'm hurt. I'll be honest when I'm wronged. I'll be honest about everything. I'll be honest when I am wrong. I'll be honest when I am right. I'll be honest about things I messed up on. I'll be honest on things I did not mess up on. I actually can't think of one thing I messed up on yet. Anyways, so number 3, don't listen to me if you don't like honesty. And number 4, I think one of my biggest ones, don't listen to me if you judge. I hinted on this a little bit with the homophobia. I've hinted on this a little bit about just equality. I don't understand judgmental people. I don't understand it. I am not better than anyone. You're not better than anyone. Like, no one is. I don't think we realize that we really don't know what the fudge we're doing. Even the smartest people in the world don't know what they're doing. There's some things in life you just can't know 100%. You might know 99.9%. There's no certainty in this world. Even 2 + 2 can be 4 today and be 6 tomorrow, because some mathematician can come and say, oh, we made the scenario wrong or some shit. I don't know. The point I'm trying to make is, don't judge people. I think society is such a shitty space right now because we all just like to judge people. Even online and social media, when you hear the way people talk, you're like, oh my God. That's how I think social media commentators are. I'm like, why are we judging? And if we're judging people, judge in the quietness of your own home. Why are we judging out loud? I would judge on sometimes, but not. And when I do judge, I feel like I'm judging. I don't think I'm judging. I think I'm commenting. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give you an example. Let me see. What is a behavior? Okay. This is the perfect example of how I do not judge. So I'm not going to clip this because I don't want to get myself in trouble for this one, but you guys can listen to this if you're listening to the podcast fully. James Charles. I don't judge James Charles. I don't know what fucked up shit happened to that boy's life for him to behave the way he did. I don't judge him. Now, I might not respect him. I might not like him. I might not like his behavior, but I don't judge him because nothing would ever give me the moral standing over another human being because I just never know their lived experience. That's what I mean. Like, you can choose to not support someone's behavior without judging them for that behavior. It's like, I just never understood the idea of, I would never wear that top. Just don't wear the top. You don't need to judge them for wearing the top. You get what I'm trying to say? Number 5, don't listen if you think culture should not be questioned. If you've ever sat down and thought, I don't want, it's everything I've known, so it's not going to change. Don't listen to me. I question things on a daily. I am the kind of person that I will critique. Tradition should change. FGM should stop. What is it? Emotional blackmail needs to end. Immigrants, parentification, and wickedness needs to end. I'll be loud and proud and tell you when culture needs to change. When culture is harmful, when society is harmful, I will be right here to yell at you and tell you, I don't fuck with that. I don't. It's not my thing. I don't like it. If you want perfect advice, number 6, if you want perfect advice from a person, it's not going to be me. Advice here is not going to be perfect. In fact, I don't even think I'm capable of perfect advice because I'm a mess. We're all a mess. AITL is supposed to be that one space where I can come on here, pick up the camera and pick up the mic and just yap to you guys. And hopefully, as it keeps growing, we have guests on here, even in a different setting, and they can also just yap and share their truths because life is messy. No one is perfect. Like, genuinely, no one is perfect. You know, there's a Black Mirror episode. I don't know if you know if this is a Black Mirror episode or if this was just me dreaming. But there's a Black Mirror episode, I think, where, you know, humans are... Okay, maybe it was a dream. Anyways, the point I'm trying to make is, if we had, maybe on our backs, we had a button, and if everyone pressed that button, and if you press that button, you saw a person's mistakes, and you also saw their successes, I don't think we would all judge, because there's so many things that we see online that we judge that we probably do some worse shit we've probably taken so much more from friends, from family, from people. We've behaved nasty in a way that we didn't like, but it wasn't blasted online. I just think society has lost the art of imperfection, with the way we move and with the way we behave. And I think that's unfortunate. I wish we weren't so judgmental about finding perfect people, because we're not. I think I remember this. I'm thinking about it from the perspective of the time we're talking about, what is it? Just skipped my head. The thing, guys, think about it. Jealous friend. And everyone's like, jealousy is terrible. I'm never jealous. Shut up. You are lying. What do you mean you've never been jealous? Who are you lying to? That's a bumbleclat lie. You have been jealous. What are we talking about here? It's a normal emotion. It's a normal reaction. People get jealous. End of story. And I think I'll say, like, don't listen to me if you don't want to become more of yourself. I think the whole point of Am I Too Loud is being able to find who you are and find out that you're not imperfect. You find out that you're not perfect. You're not an angel. Like, to find out that life is messy. Like, guys, let me tell you something. Chasing your dreams is hard. Living life is hard. Pushing forward is hard. Growing up is hard. School is hard. Life is hard. Everything is hard. But we're all figuring this shit out. Like, we are all in real time figuring this shit out. And we're going to make mistakes. And it is absolutely bumbleclat okay. I need to stop saying bumbleclat. It's okay to be a walking contradiction. It's okay for someone to grow. It's okay for someone to pivot. It's okay for someone to apologize. It's okay for someone not to apologize. It's okay. And at the end of the day, I don't think this podcast is going to be for anyone who wants to be the moral police. Anyone thinks that one person shouldn't have an opinion about something. Oh, please go sit down. Honestly, this episode was mainly for folks who would come see me and go like, oh my God, I hate her podcast. Da, da, da. Yeah, I know. I've told you hate it. If you ever listen to this episode, you would know. I've already said what I am. I have said what I am, and I'm not intending to change it. Let's see what else I wrote in here. Don't listen if you confuse being nice with being good. That is true. Don't listen. Don't listen to me if you want me to make myself smaller for your comfort. I wrote that down too. Ooh, look at that. I'm so good. And maybe finally as well, don't listen. Let me see what else I can think about. Don't listen if you find it hard to have difficult conversations, because sometimes we're going to have really difficult, uncomfortable conversations on this channel that might not go the way you want it to go. In fact, I might not always say the right thing. I will not say the right thing all the time. In fact, I probably said some of the wrong things today in this episode, but I'm human and I can take critique. And I'm human and I can take critique. And I can know when to take from a discourse and when I can drop the discourse. I know when to learn from something, when not to learn from something. I know when to grow and when not to grow. Sometimes maybe I don't. I'm just figuring out along the way. The point is, give people time and space to just have clarity, to grow, to change, to be better for themselves and the people around them. That is the whole point of Am I Too Loud? And if you've reached this part of the episode, welcome to the club. Pod fam, Am I Too Loud is here, and we're going through a time. I love this podcast so much. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, guys. Oh, also, now we're done with the episode. That's pretty much what I was going to say. Now, for personal Sophie stuff, just letting you guys know, because this is the Sophie part of the Odditty. Am I Too Loud? Okay, you get the point. Yes, I did take down the videos on my vlog channel. Yes, I don't know what the fudge I'm doing on that channel. Yes, I will be posting again on the channel soon. Yes, I don't know when I'm posting on the channel soon. Yes, I am working hard to get back. Yes, I'm doing a lot and I'm trying to take my time. And yes, I don't know what's next. It's June. I was supposed to have traveled to 5 countries between January and June. I have not been to any. Shout out to the current administration for that. And so I think things are different for me. I'm in a very interesting space where I'm craving freedom, but my needs and my wants aren't aligning. And and that it's a big issue and a big problem that I'm working on facing. So I'll keep you guys posted on what that looks like. But yeah, that might be the ending to this episode. I thoroughly enjoyed filming this. I feel like I'm finding my groove. Sitting on this chair and on the couch and just yapping with you guys is becoming more interesting. I think after, maybe when we hit 100 episodes, I'm going to start including guests on the channel. Maybe when we hit, I don't know, I shouldn't say that, because then maybe I might hit a number and I might be like, I want a guest. So we'll see. But we're currently on like episode 61 or something, and I was just like, 40 episodes left, and that's all. And if it's every week, I don't think that could work, actually, because I don't think I'm going to wait till next year for guests. I could, though. Yakubu manage. I shouldn't say that. I'm going to edit that part out. Anyways, guys, that is the end of today's episode of Am I Too Loud, the podcast with Sophie, aka the mother flipping Odditty. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching Am I Too Loud, the podcast, and I'll see you guys in my next one. And if you're listening to this on fam, hi. I'm still fucking sick. I don't know what's going on. Ugh, you guys, God, I'm so congested, but I also sound sexy, I think. All right, I love you guys. I'm getting way too comfortable now. Let me get off this call. It's not a call, so.